Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge. After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort. No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips. Get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit GearHandle.com and use promo code H2O today. This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
BooBaes.
Hi.
Hello, and welcome to
BooBaes.
BooBaes. That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And today we're here to talk to you about The Thing.
The Thing. John Carpenter's 1982 American science fiction horror film.
Starring Kurt Russell,
Yeah.
Wilford Brimley, Keith David, and a whole lot of people.
Whole lot of people, for sure. It's a pretty big cast ensemble, because the whole movie, I could not get down, like, any person's name. Like, I did a few.
Were hard.
Yeah, well, it was, like, by the time that they started dwindling down, then I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like,
I know your names now. Yeah, but at first I was like, I'm not even going to try with their names because there were so many of them.
I was calling in my notes. Nope. It's like Dog Dude. That's I still don't
Clark.
Clark, yes, Clark.
Yeah. I got their names by the end of it, and like the ones with weird names like Windows, I got his name, and Blair.
But like I didn't know Blair was the doctor for a whole minute. I thought Blair was Clark for a minute when they were like Blair's missing. I thought they meant that Clark was missing. Because we didn't see Clark for a while after that dog, like after him and the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stuff like
I
that.
was getting Blair and Copper confused.
Blair and Blair Copper's the other dog. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was getting them confused, but yeah, it was a mess with all the names at first.
The dude who ended up being a thing because his stomach and he ate copper. Spoiler alert. What was his name?
I don't know. I never got his name.
Right? Okay. So I'm not the only one lost on that. I'm like, I never
saw him until he stared looking bad. And then that was the first time I noticed him.
Oh,
so.
Okay. They you know what? They did. Because Gary tried to give him... Gary was like, someone else should be in charge, and then mentioned his name for like a second.
Oh, right.
And then he was like, I'm not up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only time I think I ever heard his name. And then it's unmemorable because I do not remember it.
Yeah, the same. But we have another Universal picture. Last week's was The Creature from the Black Lagoon was also Universal.
I didn't even catch that.
And this one is Universal as well. We get credits as some suspenseful, like otherworldly music is playing. It felt very sci-fi.
Oh yeah,
the music was good. Ennio something did the music. I just remember it was a interesting name whenever it flashed in the credits, and I was like, "That's a cool name."
Ennio Morricone or something like that.
Yeah. And the music's very good. I love the theme song, like the little bass line, heartbeat. Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah. Very Jaws.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
And it's based off of a 1951 novel, The Thing from Another World. So that's where it draws it's a novella, sorry, not a novel, I believe. So I think it's just like a shorter science fiction film, but that's where it gets, it's like a short film that they turn into like a big thing, like adapted.
Cool.
But it was in like basically the making for a lot of years until it finally got into John Carpenter's claws.
Lots of claws. But as we get the credits, we get a little spaceship coming through and burning up. It didn't age super well.
No, it looks very cheesy.
Cheesy, yeah. I just wrote cheesy little spaceship crashing. Yeah. But then we do get a cool title card with the like lightning-esque kind of coming onto the screen.
Yeah, I did like that too.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And then we're in Antarctica, winter of 1982.
And we start with a pretty scenic scene, picturesque scene, and then a helicopter zooms in, and it's shooting at a husky, shooting at a little
doggy. Little doggy's running, and I was like, "No, why are we shooting at the dog?" I've seen this movie before, but it's been a while, and I was telling other Josh before this that I was like, I don't know if maybe I'm confusing it with one of the other iterations of this film or something, because I definitely remembered it ending differently.
Yeah, well, there was a 2011 release of the thing, and it had Mary Elizabeth Winstead, the girl from Final Destination 3.
Oh yeah, I think maybe I've seen that. So maybe I'm confusing it with the ending of that one.
Gotcha.
Or I might be confusing it with Tremors for some reason.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, I know.
That's funny. Tremors is a good movie. I like
Tremors is, yeah.
Sandworms.
So I might, but like I definitely remember The Thing and watching it. Because I remembered lots of like the scene when that one guy whose name we can't remember, like chops off and his head comes off. Like I remember all that, and I remember seeing it, but there were just some bits that I was like,
I don't remember this at all.
I thought this happened differently, but it didn't. Yeah. It happened this way. So I was getting it confused with some other movie, or I dreamt it. Who knows?
I was realizing that but I honestly don't think I've ever even seen this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was like, well, and the thing is like I recognize a lot of things.
The thing is,
what
you said the thing is,
the thing is, I was
like, sorry.
Right? No, I get it. I'm pretty like I've seen like cultural references and like I've seen clips of this movie and stuff on YouTube and like on Reels and stuff. And
but like watching it full.
Yeah, in my head, I guess I thought that meant I saw it. I don't know. But then I have seen the 2011 The Thing. And so there are like there's similarities between that one and this one, and especially in the way like the way that they make some creature move, the alien. And so yeah, I just like a lot of this, like I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize. Like I don't know, like I feel like I did see it at some point when I was a kid, but maybe not, because like you said, some of it seemed familiar, but a lot of it, like I didn't remember the dog like whole like scene when it's like in the kennel with the other ones, and it's like and that seems super memorable. Like I feel like I would remember that, and I was like, oh, okay, that's new.
This is happening now. Yeah, I remember the dog had something to do with it. But I didn't remember that scene either. And so I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen this film. Maybe I have seen only the 2011. But I remember Kurt Russell. So like I remember watching it with him in it. So I think it's just probably that it's been so long since I've seen this that.
And then like they probably fused together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I probably got a mixture of both this one and the 2011 running in my head. And
they're a bit similar.
Yeah.
I mean, same gist, same legit like alien. Oh no, there's a crew of us. Oh no, we're all getting eaten. Who can we trust? None of us.
Like, turning on one another. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other one, actually, the 2011 one, is a prequel for this one.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm. It's a prequel. Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's that one called? It's just called The Thing as well,
isn't it? It's literally just called The Thing. Yeah. But I think that's like, I think that literally was the kickoff before it was cool for like the sequels things. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, because it's same title and it's a different movie and it's not a remake. And then after the fact that it had came out, because it's not John Carpenter, I don't believe who did it, but they were like, it's a prequel.
I see. Because then this movie has a sequel for it.
Yes.
And what's it called?
The Thing? I have no idea, to be honest.
Hold
on.
I saw it at some point.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the other one is a prequel.
Prince of Darkness is the sequel.
Interesting.
No. That's what it says. 1987 horror fantasy. It says it's the sequel to it. But I don't know. I've not seen that.
Yeah, I don't even know how that would be connected.
But
but we should probably jump into the movie, right?
Yeah, they're shooting at the doggo, and it was like, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, but then go ahead.
Yeah, it was just like, no, don't kill the dog, but they had good reason to be shooting this dog. Yes. Unfortunately. And we then end up at the U.S. National Science Institute station number 4.
Number 4. And we get to meet our lead character, played by Kurt Russell, McCready. Call him Mac.
I called him Mac the whole time, too.
Playing computer chess, and then gets mad because the computer wins, calls it a cheat.
Yeah. He's a sore loser, pours his drink in the machine.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, too bad if anyone else wanted to play that. Like,
well, if he can't win, nobody can. That's how it goes.
Some toxic masculinity.
And then obviously we're hearing stuff going on outside because helicopters going around the whole site and, shooting at the dog. And then he gets out and then everybody's like, what's going on? And then the person in the helicopter starts dropping bombs.
Yeah, they start throwing like little grenade bomb things at the crew, but then he goes to throw one and it slips out of his glove behind him, and he accidentally blows up the helicopter and himself in the process because he tries to like cover it up. Yeah, and ends up not successfully covering it.
Yeah, and then also
he gets dead.
It's also not a good look because then everybody else is like what the hell's going on? You're dropping bombs and then the helicopter explodes.
Yeah, and they're shooting at the crew too, the other guy, because there were 2 guys in the helicopter, and one is, they're trying to shoot the dog still, but the dog comes up to not Clark, jumps on
the dude with no name.
No, Dennings.
Oh, yeah, Bennings. Either Bennings or Bennington. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and he jumps on him, and then that's why Bennings gets shot in the leg because he was aiming for the dog. But and then from the actual camp itself, we have head honcho looking guy, Gary, shooting at the two men, and he shoots them. We see later, got him right in the eye.
Yeah.
Shot him right through. He was a good shot.
Knocks him dead, and then he does a little body flinch on the ground, and he is out for the count.
Yep. And then so we're back inside. They've set out the fire and stuff, or put out the fire, and then they brought the body inside to like just see what the hell's going on, and get everyone out of the elements. And we're with Windows, and we realize that they haven't been able to get a hold of anyone for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. At all.
Yeah. And Windows has been trying. And the whole time, the first few times we meet Windows, it's someone yelling at him being like, well, keep trying. And he's just like, I fucking am.
Or like the other time, he's like kind of dozing off, or sleepish, or he's reading the magazine, something like that. And then
he was sleeping. Yeah.
He was sleeping. Yeah.
With the magazine on his chest.
Yeah. And then that's whenever they're checking the body out and all that stuff. And then they want to go after doing all that, because they're like, well, he seems perfectly fine. Like, I don't know what's the matter with him. They don't know why he was acting all crazy, quote unquote. Which also, there was a moment when he was yelling at them and yelling at the dog and stuff. And I don't know if you have a fun fact about that. But he was speaking Swedish when he was yelling at them, or Norwegian, right? Norwegian.
Because they were Norwegian, not Swedes.
Yeah. The whole plot of the movie is said right there in Norwegian. Is that what they speak? I'm sorry, Norwegian.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then so it was basically saying like, don't get near that dog. That is not an actual dog. It's an alien, and it's going to kill all of you. Like, that's what he was saying. In Norwegian, yeah, but they were just like hearing a man yelling at them with the gun, shooting at them.
That's not one of my fun facts, but that is a fun fact. I like it.
Yeah. And so now that all that's happening, they want to go check out the station, that other station that the dude came from.
Yep. And they because they also found that the helicopter was loaded with at least 15 cans of kerosene. And so they're like, what were they coming here to do? So they're like, we have to go see what happened here.
Oh, yeah. Because Nals was like, oh, are we like at war with Norway now or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And so they're going to the Norwegian camp to see what's up. And then the theme music starts playing with the shot of the doggo, and then it ends with it too. Like, it flashes back between the helicopter flying, and then it ends up back on the dog, and that's when the theme stops.
Yeah. So kind of like foreshadowing for us, like something's up with the dog.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get Superstitious playing. And so it's like, that's kind of another omen.
Double. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the dog comes out going to explore a bit, and it goes to a figure who we don't know.
I want to say later on, it's that dude that we don't know his name.
Oh, okay.
I want to, like, because the shadow was kind of given like his like hair and hair, facial shape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, I don't know who it is, but this person probably is now an alien.
Yeah.
And then he goes to that little figure, and then we transition back to the helicopter.
Yeah, well, this movie has a lot of like, was it made for TV or something? Like back in the day? I don't know, because it has all those like
cuts
cut to black
where it just stops. Yeah.
Or like a commercial might pop up or something. And then we are checking out the other station, right? But like we get there and it's like fucked up.
Yeah, it's like burnt to a crisp. And this is where I got Kurt Russell's character's name, Mac. It took me a while. But tense music is playing as they discover, like, they're checking everything out, and then the music intensifies, and they discover a trail of blood leading to a body.
Yeah, a body that's like basically like, you ever see like The Day After Tomorrow, and like in that movie where the people like freeze instantly, and like to where even like his blood was like frozen almost instantly.
Yeah, I like how the blood was frozen off of him. I thought that was cool.
It was cool.
But it looked like he maybe possibly slit his own throat. And or somebody did, but he had the blade in his hand, so
something happened. But either or, I could see why he would have chose to kill himself, or obviously the thing killed him.
Yeah. And so, yep. Then Doc or Copper, who's with him, it was Doc and Copper, or Doc/Copper, who went with Mac to the camp.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I just found out the dude whose name we don't know his name is Norris.
Norris. Okay. So that's who the doggo went to. That's who we think the doggo went to go see.
Yes.
But Doc starts collecting papers that are in Norwegian, and they find some tapes, and they're like, maybe we should take these tapes as well. So Doc is collecting all of this information that they can use to help kind of unravel the mystery of what in the world happened here. And Doc's still collecting papers whenever he gets a call for him to come into this other room from Mac. And they find this big ice bath looking thing, like a big
huge
block
ice
of
coffin.
ice. Yeah, coffin kind
but
of
without
thing.
the lid. Yeah.
And they think possibly that they found a fossil of sorts and dug it out. They're like, maybe they found a fossil. And they were trying to theorize, like, of what in the world this block of ice could be. And then they go outside and they find this burnt body that they think is a man,
but they can't tell because it looks so bad, and obviously it was burned.
Yeah, been burned, and then it's wildly like disfigured. It's got like claws and
all sorts of like
almost two looking heads, like a head that's splitting.
Yeah. Very, very Professor Quill, Voldemort type of action going on.
Yeah. What was that other movie? Malignant.
That's such a funny movie. It's comedy.
Yes.
And then they end up, what do they do? Oh yeah, they end up they bring it back to the station. And everybody's like, what the fuck is that? And they're like, we don't know. That's why we're going to perform an autopsy. And I'm in my head thinking, like, I don't think there's any reason why we should be touching this or should have touched it in the first place.
If it was burnt there, probably, and like these men were panicking so much to have like come to their camp and like causing such a ruckus, I think maybe I wouldn't be touching it. But that's just me.
Seems like it could be problematic. But they end up, going inside the body, and they find out that the creature has has all the same organs as like humans does, like normal organs that are healthy, like that are perfectly fine organs. So they're like, well, this is fucking weird.
Says everything, appears to be normal internally at least. And so, and then there was one shot where the eye looked like it was looking right at you. Of the face. There's one of the eyes. Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's a little creepy. Because it felt like it was staring into my soul.
The visual practical effects department really did a good job at like creating a really funky, ugly looking creature that just makes you feel really uncomfortable almost because of how like disturbingly disfigured it looks.
Yeah,
because it's like that thing where it's like it's so human, but it's not human, that it's like it's really disturbing.
Yeah, definitely. And but then Bennings like reacts weird, and I was like, did the dog bite him, or why did he react like that? He like, the dog was under the table and he was like, and then he was like, Clark, get this dog out of here, put him with the other dogs. And so
put
I
him
was
with
like,
the mutts.
Yeah, I was like, did the dog bite him, or
like something transpired? But Clark listens and is like, yeah, okay, whatever. So he takes him, he goes and puts him with the other huskies, and then we put them in there, and they seem okay at first, but then and it's real funny because that husky, it's like he's almost waiting for Clark to leave. Well, he's waiting for Clark to leave, and then like, because he's just sitting there all like, act chill, act normal, act like a dog.
Yeah, I was like, what is this dog staring at? Because it was just staring so intently at the wall that I thought something was going to happen through the wall. But he was trying to act normal.
And then the other dogs, once Clark leaves, is like, all right, well, this bitch ain't like us, and they start to get aggressive. And then we see why, because it immediately peels back its face, head,
like a little Demogorgon.
Yep, and then its little actual real face pops out, and it starts going crazy.
And it's like has spider legs that grow out of it, and little tentacles that are coming and like shooting, and then like some sort of liquid that's being shot from
almost like an acid.
Yeah, and the dogs are rightly freaking the fuck out. They're all like clamoring to get out of there. One dog's literally biting the fence and like pulling pieces of it away, while the other dogs are freaking out in the corner.
These dogs were trained extremely well for them to like the acting cues. I don't know, either that or they were legit scaring the fuck out of these dogs.
These poor dogs. Yeah, I know. I was wondering what these dogs had to go through for this movie.
They were legit like looking terrified. Like, I don't know how you do that, honestly. I don't know how well dogs can be trained to act, but these dogs literally were acting as if this was a real life situation. Yeah, especially when they jumped out and then we're like, and then like sprawled out,
and then like their little paws going everywhere because they can't get enough traction, and they're like trying to run.
Almost when like a cat is so scared that it's like jumping out, and they're like so like do, you know, point, bouncing
like a little screensaver, bouncing around the room.
But that shit happened. And then, you know, it's causing so much commotion that the guys, everybody is like, and Clark comes in and is like, well, what the fuck is going on? And he can't turn on the light because the creature inside the thing has kind of, I guess, destroyed everything with its acid spit. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like tentacles are going everywhere. And I think it, shattered the light bulb. And
that makes sense, yeah.
That's what I think happened anyways. I don't know. Because I was a little confused. I was like, why aren't they turning on the light?
But then everybody comes in and they're like, what the fuck?
Because and Mac's like, get the flamethrower.
Yeah, and Clark's
they love this flamethrower.
Yeah.
I do remember the flamethrower.
Yeah, and then, you know, like, to me, I'm like, you know, they have a lot of flamethrowers, and I'm just like, why did they think they would need so many flamethrowers? It's good they did.
Yeah, it's good that they have them, but
they had like 4 flamethrowers, or I don't know, 3. Yeah, but they end up torching, you know, this creature, whatever that's in the pen with the dogs. But they also like
after it grew arms and went through the fucking ceiling,
and then like almost attacked,
like tried to escape. Yeah,
but also like
that was wild.
They. It was wild. They said it. What's it called? The after you put out a fire, or what you use, the fire
extinguisher.
I felt like, well, obviously, I guess it's a scary movie. But I was like, nah, they put that hoe out way too quick. Like they needed to let it like crisp up a little bit more, you know?
Really kill it before extinguishing it. Yeah, I agree. There were a few times where they torch it and it
You're just like, that doesn't,
they put it out too quickly. Where I'm like, that person could still be alive. But they end up taking it into the like operating room of sorts. And I, again, wouldn't be touching that thing, but
no, the doc is all up in it with like the most, and those type of
little tiny rubber gloves
that, you know, like break as soon as you like expand your fingers.
Yeah. Not enough protection was he using. And he slices it open and they basically find another organism inside the dog that was trying to imitate the dog.
It was pretty gross.
It was in the process of creating new monsters, basically.
Well, what the doc was saying as well was that like it was basically creating the replication of the dogs, but because they didn't allow it enough time that it couldn't fully finish the process. So what we got was like these half-looking dog creature
things, that weren't as complete as the first dog.
And I guess also too, because it does replicate, it's either, I guess what that means too is that if there's only one thing, it'll replicate that one thing. But if there's like 5, like what if there was like a dog and a cat and a man, like would it in the same room, would it like then become like a dog cat man thing all at once?
Maybe. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or would it become 3 separate entities?
I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. But they're trying to figure out, basically Blair is like, okay, we need to figure out what that dog was doing, and we need to figure out how long Clark was alone with it.
Yeah.
Because this could be bad. Because Blair asked him directly, like, how long were you alone with this? And he was like, I don't know, hour and a half tops.
And you can tell in his face that he's already like suspicious.
Yeah. And he was not really looking. He was not trusting him. That's right. And then we basically flash to them watching the Norwegian footage, and they're blowing up the ice, and like they find that they, kept going to this other site off of their site that they investigated the first time.
They're like, what are they doing? Why are they blowing it up? They're like,
yeah, exactly. And so Mac's like, well, fuck it, I'm going to go investigate. And they even warn him at this point too, that it's like 35 knots or something outside. Like you shouldn't be flying in this weather. But he's like, I don't care. I got to go. I got to go see. So they go and they get to this giant crater in the ground.
It was they blew huge. Up. My crowds were huge.
Yeah. It was gigantic. And they found a spacecraft.
The one from the beginning of the film.
Yep. And they start rappelling down into the hole where the craft is. And it's Fuchs who's with them now, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And Fuchs is saying this ice is at least 100,000 years old.
Yeah. It's super old. So they're like, why the fuck were they blowing this shit up? And then they're like, oh, okay, because like the spaceship has been here for so long. And then they're like, well, whatever they did, they allowed for this alien creature to be released.
And they find the ice, like the other hole where the ice block came from in the original place that they checked out.
The Norwegian station.
Yeah. And then we flash back to they get home basically, or back to base, and Childs is saying he doesn't believe any of this voodoo bullshit. He's like, no, absolutely not. This is not like aliens aren't a thing. This isn't what's happening. Like, and then he's asking Blair if he buys any of this shit. Mm-hmm. And Blair just kind of looks up and is like, oh, and it cuts to black.
Yeah. He doesn't really give an answer, but then it cuts to him, it cuts to the doc, and he's running his test on the computer. And he's putting data in. It's basically trying to analyze he was analyzing the cell transformation that was going on between the thing and the dog. Yeah,
and assimilation and imitation sequences is what he was running.
The computer tells him that probably at least 75% of his crew will be or has been infected by the thing or can be.
Or at least the probability that one of them is infected is 75%.
There we go. And so that's a pretty high probability. It's more than 50%. So he's like, damn. And then it also tells him that if the alien thing, if it is able to get, what did it call it again?
If the intruder reaches civilized areas, entire world population infected within 2,700 hours.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that meant like 27 hours, like, and that was like weird army time, or if it was like
I think it meant 27,000. So like 27,000
hours. And then the whole population would be okay. So it would be a steady takeover, a slow but steady. It makes its way through populations slowly.
Yeah, I'm like, how many days is 27 hours? That'd be 1,125 days.
Okay, so that'd be a few years.
Yeah, Not me. How many years in 1,100 days? It would be about 3 years.
3 years.
About 3 years. Yep.
A few years, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
That is. And
but imagine the chaos within those 3 years.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying. I would want
all the
to
theme creatures just like everywhere. That would not be a world. Yeah, if that was that kind of apocalypse, just take me out.
Yeah, slowly but surely, like taking over. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, like, what world would be left? Like no internet, no like Baskin Robbins, no like. Just kill me now. And so we are moving to alien bodies because once again we love to touch alien bodies.
Yep, and they're trying to lock him up this time. So this is like a decent idea that they've got going, but not. They're still touching him. So
and then we have them moving them into the room because we have Bennings and Windows and Fuchs comes to then get McCready because he's like, hey, McCready, I got to talk to you outside. McCready's like, why can't you just talk to me here, brah? And he's like, no, let's go talk outside. The other two dudes are like, okay, whatever. And then Windows starts to take a look at the body underneath the like sheet. And then when he puts the sheet back over it, it starts to move.
Yep, it moved. And who was it? Bennings made the comment of, he was like, we can't, because Windows is like, why can't we just burn this like to a crisp, like completely? And Bennings says, we can't burn that. Like that's one of us is going to win the Nobel Prize for it. And I said, no, you're not going to make it out to win the Nobel Prize.
He said, we can't burn the find of the century or discovery of the century or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're outside because Fuchs is talking to Mac and he's saying, hey, like I'm reading Blair's shit. And it's like basically, what's he say? He said that it's like
the remains still have cellular activity, so they're not dead yet.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. He says Blair has locked himself in the room and he won't answer either. So Blair is acting pretty weird.
Yeah. And then
I wouldn't be trusting Blair at this moment.
I wouldn't either. And then we have Windows going and leaving Bennings by himself. and we see that like a little tentacle thing is like coming out of the body. And then Windows comes back in to talk to Bennings, but then you realize that Bennings is getting like globble shut by the thing. And
yeah, it's got its tentacles wrapped all around him, and it's like on his head.
And then then Windows goes out to get the other guys, and when they come back in, Bennings is gone, and he's like running outside.
Yeah, he escapes through the window, and they find him, and he like looks normal on his face, but then he's got these alien claw hands that are there, and he's making these inhuman sounds, and he like looks up at them and he's like,
yeah,
just kind of growling and screaming, yowling at them. And so they decide to set him on fire. And Mac is saying, we got to burn the rest of them too. Because fuck this shit. It just killed one of our own. And Gary is not taking it well. Gary is like, I know Bennings. I've known him for 10 years. This is like, he was my friend. And this is not okay. Like, we can't just go torching everyone.
Yeah. Which does make sense. But also, when you can't tell who is what, it's just kind of a bit harder that way.
Yeah. And then they're all starting to kind of slowly turn on each other. And I, at this point, was like, what about Blair? And then I think Fuchs or Clark, one of them asks like, where's Blair? And I was like, yeah, homie's asking the right questions here. And so then they basically gather everyone in the rec room. Windows, except for Windows is still trying to make contact and get through to someone. And then the only person missing is Blair, basically. But Mac's still outside burning some of the bodies.
But then he sees Blair fucking around in the helicopter.
Yeah.
And then he's like, Blair? And then he goes to check out what was going on in the helicopter. And apparently Blair ruined the whole helicopter and like cut all the wires and stuff. So now they can't use the helicopter to get anywhere.
Yeah, the thing was fucked. It looked not good.
And then we hear a gunshot inside or something smacking inside.
Yes. And then, so Mac makes it inside and he's coming upon this commotion and everyone's like down hiding and stuff because Blair is like destroying the point of contact. And losing his mind. And they send Childs, I believe, to go check if the tractor is okay. And he comes back and he's like, tractor and helicopter both destroyed. So they're basically stranded. And
he killed the other dog.
Yeah, and then he says, and he killed all the dogs. So then Clark gets up because he's like, not the dogs, because Clark is the doggo man. Yeah. And he loves his puppies. And so he was upset.
Yeah.
But they're basically.
And then Childs goes to the other side of because there's another door open or something, and then he tries to check in on Blair, but then Blair shoots at him.
Yeah, Blair has a gun. He had an axe at first, and he was axing everything, and then he gets the gun, and he shoots at Childs.
Yeah. And then that's whenever they are able to go in there. And they, Greedy, Blair swings the axe. Greedy gets him down with the door. They all attack him. But Greedy gets to knock him out a little bit.
Yeah, we get 2 little fake punch sounds.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they knock him unconscious, and then they are taking him to the tool shed to isolate him.
Yes.
And basically, once Blair comes to, he's warning Mac to watch Clark and watch him close. And they lock him up, and then Doc/Copper is basically saying, I think I can work on a blood contamination test, and like we can test it against the normal blood that we have, which I'm also like, why did they have blood there? Same. That was kind of weird.
Well, maybe if something happened, they had like someone
for a transfusion or something.
Yeah.
Someone lost a lot of blood. They got it. Yeah.
Giving.
But they are thinking they can, work some little test out and test it like contaminated blood against pure blood. And they're going to go check on said blood when they find out that all the blood has been wasted.
Someone got to the blood. And then they have basically like a little standoff between each other because they're like, who had access to the blood?
Yeah, they all start turning on each other.
Gary and Copper had access to the blood, but then they're like, obviously, like, well, we didn't do it. And then I love how Windows is just like, man, fuck this shit. I'm getting out of here. Like, he just takes off.
He's like, I trust none of y'all.
Yeah, goes to go grab a gun, and then we have a bigger standoff where we have him and Gary pointing gun, Gary just has a gun pointed at him, and they're having this whole moment where they're not trusting each other. Gary relinquishes his gun to McCready, even though Childs wanted it, but they're like, maybe someone more level-headed should be in charge.
He tries to give it to Norris,
but Norris denies it because
like we said earlier.
I guess he's just like, I'm not up for it. He doesn't want that responsibility. Or either at this point, he could have been an alien already, maybe.
Especially if it was the dog that went into him. Yeah, I think he was too. Because it's not long after that he starts looking kind of sick.
Yeah.
Like whenever they all start splitting up and stuff in a little bit. He's like, ooh, like he's got tummy
like
ache.
Making noises.
Yeah, and I was like, don't trust that. But then
that's whenever we have them. They're now back. I think what's his name is talking to them. Matt McCready is talking to them, and they're outside and they're all with the like fire, and McCready's
because they're like, burning the blood just in case, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Mac is saying to drug Clark, Gary, and Copper and tie them up because he was left alone with the dog for a long time. Gary and Copper because they were the only two who could have had access to the blood to destroy it.
Yeah.
And so, he's like, we need to drug them and we need to tie them up and we need to keep a close watch on them.
And the doctor's like, you can't do that to me. I'm no prisoner. And then he's like, watch me. And then McCready starts to make that little tape because he's basically recounting everything that's happening. It's basically like, if I don't make it out if you're alive, here is an account of what has happened.
Exactly, yeah. And he makes the discovery that he thinks it rips through your clothes when it takes you over because Windows or someone found ripped clothing in the waste bin, but the name tag had been ripped off, so they couldn't tell whose long johns they were.
Yeah. Which is really tricky on the aliens part. Very smart.
Yeah, definitely. And he's saying nobody trusts anybody now. We're all very tired. Nothing I can do now except wait.
And after he ends up making the tape, he goes to go talk to
Fuchs.
Fuchs, yes, and tries to get more information about what's going on in the whole alien situation.
Yeah, and Fuchs is suggesting they prepare all their own meals and only eat out of cans because one small particle is enough to infect, apparently. And so he was like, "Yeah, we gotta watch out, vigilant. Every man for himself, kind of now."
And then he's doing more like studying and stuff, but then the lights go out on him. And then Fuchs goes out because he's like, "What the heck is happening?" And when he goes out there, I think it just cuts. He just goes out, and then it cuts again, like one of those fade to black, right? Because then we're with the rest of the gang. They're like, where the fuck is Fuchs?
Yeah, someone passes by in front of him rather quickly.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And then he finds Mac's clothes torn to shreds. And then that's when we cut back to the gang. It is one of those cut to blacks where they're all splitting off to find Fuchs now. And so some of them go to check on Blair to see if maybe Fuchs went over to Blair or something.
And Mac's talking to him, and then he's like, and then Blair's like, I really want to get out of here. But he has like a noose.
Yeah, he had a noose there. I was like, what is going on?
And then he's not being very convincing when he's like, I promise I won't hurt anybody. I'm not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm better now. I was like, that's exactly what a killer would say. An alien person would say. So absolutely not. But they find... Oh, and then they end up finding Fuchs burned to death.
Oh, yeah. Which was also like, so what's your debate? Do you think that he burned himself or do you think the alien burned him?
I think he burned himself to prevent.
I think because he was so afraid of becoming one of those things, probably.
Yeah.
I could see that.
But also, like, damn, what a painful way to die.
Also, I wonder who he even saw then, or what made him want to do that, to burn himself. Huh, that's interesting. There should be a whole, like, side episode about that. And then...
about who Fuchs saw and who was stalking around.
Yeah, exactly. And then...
I feel like it was Blair the whole time. Like, I feel like Blair got out. And
yeah, that's true, because Blair had enough time to be getting, like, parts and all that shit and whatever spaceship parts down there. So
yeah. So I feel like Blair had like an underground system going where he was able to get out and escape from there. And that's I feel like Blair's infected, and that is what is happening.
Yeah. And so then both Windows and Mac are like, okay, well, they end up then they're like, we need to get back to the station, but Nars is going to go with Mac to go check out his place, because he's like, whenever I left my place yesterday, I left the light off, and they pan to his place and it's cut the light on.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're like, what the fuck? So they're going up there to investigate, and they all find, sorry, Suki's coming. They all find Null finds Mac's clothes that Fuchs found and brings it back into the crew, and everyone is like, oh shit, when they're like, Mac's one of them. And so they lock him out, or at least they try to. And they're not very successful, though, because he comes through like some supply window.
Yeah. Oh, she's so cute. And then they're like getting to him, but he's already inside. And Childs comes to like try to torch him, but Mac has flares or like TNT or something. So he's like, if you light me up, we all go up.
Anyone messes with me and the whole camp goes up.
So they obviously back off. But before they can back off too much, the other dudes come from the back and like try to like get him down.
And while they were trying to lock up the building, this is where Norris starts going like, oh, like he's got a tummy ache. And then as Mac breaks in, he like hits Norris. Don't step on the computer, please. And Norris dies. Like his heart stops, basically. He has no pulse. So that's when Copper pulls out the defibrillator and is using it on him. And then it was pretty awesome, I thought, whenever, please don't walk on the computer. I need to get her her own little computer.
Or something. Oh, yeah.
So she can walk on it and not mine.
Yeah.
But she only wants to walk on it because I'm here.
Yeah, that makes sense. She just wants attention.
But yeah, so Copper is using the defibrillator, and then the second time he goes clear, and his hands just go right through it. And then this tummy grows teeth, and it eats Doc's arms off.
Just like bites them right off.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And the head pulls off, like the head starts splitting. Everything starts, like the little tendons and tentacles are coming out.
They're like pulling apart.
Yeah, and it's there was like some little stretch like stretch toy that I feel like had tendons like that.
Oh, okay. I don't, maybe like a toy for children or like for animals.
You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of Anastasia, and when Rasputin goes.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my god, it's one of my favorites. And when Rasputin, like, his head falls off and goes into his stomach and stuff, it's got the same little tendons. And I think there was
cartoon?
Yeah.
And his head comes off and goes into his stomach?
Yeah.
Like as in death?
But he's fine. Like it's because he's undead.
Oh, okay. At this point. Got it.
But Suki, what the hell are you doing?
She's so dense.
She really is. And then I think Burger King came out with these toys because I had a little Bartok, which is the bat that would like suction cup to the window. And then I also had a Puka, who's the little dog in Anastasia, and you would squeeze its belly and its ears would flap. And then I think I got like almost all the toys from Burger King because Anastasia was like my favorite movie growing up.
Yeah.
And I think there was a Rasputin that you could pull his extremities and his it would have like those tendons, like how the Norris's head looked when it was splitting.
Okay.
So I think that's the children's toy I'm thinking of. But yeah, the head ends up like splitting off and pulls itself away with little tentacles, and it like is like slumping off and going a different direction. And then it grows spider legs.
Yeah, like a crab almost.
Yeah, and then Palmer sees it and is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Very like, you gotta be kidding me. I wish I could bring my kitty inside. She would die.
Oh yeah, from all the puppies.
And then so they're like torching that hoe, and then at this point Mac is like, all right, I'm over it. We're all taking tests. We're all getting tested right now.
Yeah. And then he accidentally shoots Clark in the head too.
Oh yeah, well, because Clark tried to. Well, because I mean, it was all super tense, and it happened so fast. Because I was like, oh shit, why the fuck did you just shoot Clark like that? Because Clark was like just gonna punch him or something like that. I don't even like. It was. Hit that scalpel? Was that the scalpel?
Yeah, he pulled out his pocket knife.
That's what it was. Okay, yeah, okay, and then he lunges after Mac, and then Mac acts really fast and just shoots him in the head. So he's dead. And then that's whenever. What happens next?
They start testing the blood.
The blood with the with the wire.
Yeah. And he's like, we're going to draw a little bit of everyone's blood and we're going to see which one of you is the thing. And I was like, roll credits. But
that's it.
And then he says that if you're a man, you'll just bleed. But if you're a thing, the blood will try and survive when attacked. So basically he theorized that because of how Norris looked whenever he was getting like attacked, I guess they were trying to save his life, but
and how like the head pulled apart, that every kind of like, it's not even one individual organism, it's like a bunch of little like organisms that it's like every piece is trying to keep itself alive essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's all fighting for life. And so he basically says that once we put this hot like wire to it, the blood will either do nothing or it will attack.
React.
Yeah. So they're all slicing their thumbs open, and
the way Windows does it, like I was,
I know the like it had like a nice big like that came forth from it, and I was like,
the well from which like the thumb is the way he cut it around his thumb on the blood. I'm like, oh my god, that's the worst place too to cut is your finger because those just keep pulsating and they don't stop.
Yeah. Like, I know. I was like, y'all couldn't have. Y'all had syringes. Like, y'all couldn't have just drawn some blood or something.
Yeah.
But this was, I guess, faster. So they're filling all the little petri dishes with blood, and then he starts heating up a cord and a coil of sorts, and with the flamethrower, and they're testing each of the blood, and Windows was who went first, and he was looking awfully sus.
Yeah.
There for a second.
I guess they were building that up because the whole time everybody's been like really suspicious of him.
Yeah. And then, but I was like, oh, JK, he's fine. His blood doesn't react. And then they go through a few different people's blood and none of it's reacting. So I was like, oh, is this just a bum test? Like, this isn't really working. And that's what Gary and like Palmer and all of them are saying. Like, this is bullshit. Like, it's not a real test. And and they test
Clark's
blood, and nothing happens, and they're like, damn, he was just human.
I guess you're a murderer.
Yeah. But then they get to Palmer's blood.
Yeah.
And Palmer's blood reacts
in a really cool way. I like the way it like the blood almost like was so animated. It was on the floor and then it was like, and then Palmer just out of nowhere starts reacting, I guess because cat's out of the bag. Because immediately his body just starts to just, convulse, and then it starts to change, and it's tied to the other guys, so they're like wanting to get off him, and then his body is just doing what it's doing, and Mac can't get the flamethrower to work, of course.
Yes, yeah, of course it decides to malfunction now. And yeah, Palmer like eats Windows with his head. That was pretty cool. But then finally he gets the flamethrower working.
Yeah.
After some time.
It looked like Palmer was gonna literally like eat him whole.
Yeah. And it was a little cheesy now. When Windows' body was flopping around. I was like,
it looks like a doll.
Clearly a doll, or like some pants like stuffed with like some tissue paper or something.
Like a scarecrow.
Yeah, just flopping around. But it was entertaining. But then he finally gets the flamethrower working and he blows them up, and then they then have to burn Windows because Windows is like obviously infected now.
Yeah.
And so they burn Windows up to a crisp in the corner of the room. And then they just start testing the rest of the blood. And we find out that Nall's, Childs, and Gary are all fine.
Yeah. And then they're like, all right, well, now we got to go test Blair. So we got to get to Blair.
Yeah. And they get out there and they find that Blair's escaped because the door's wide open. And they're like, how did he get out? It was bolted from the outside. Like, what happened? And so
they're able to go in there and they see that he was able to get himself through the bottom of it. Make a little tunnel.
And then they find like an underground lair
where he was assembling a small flying saucer.
Yeah, a little spaceship, little UFO looking thing. And he had stolen parts from the helicopter and stuff like that. And then we get the theme music coming in again as Nall is looking out the window and he sees Childs leaving the camp. And he's like, what is happening?
Because we forgot, Childs was instructed to stay there and on guard at the camp.
Yeah, that if Blair comes back without them,
that
to
they
torch
know that
him.
he's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he sees Childs leaving the camp, and then not long after does the whole place go dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the power generator is destroyed, and then they're left without heat. So they're like, well, what the fuck now?
Yeah, and they realize that the thing is trying to freeze itself again because it can't survive.
Yeah, it basically is trying to hibernate again until another unfortunate group of people come along that it can hijack.
Yeah, in the spring.
Another shot at. Mm-hmm. So basically, McGreedy is like, this is now going to become a suicide mission.
Yes.
Yeah. So because they agreed that it cannot be allowed to escape, they start to set explosives around. They're going to set explosives around the station so they can basically essentially blow everything up.
She's eating plastic.
No, it's okay.
She has no thoughts in her little head.
It's cute.
I'm just kidding, Suki. You're so smart. She plays fetch, so she is a little smart.
She's very smart.
But yeah, they decide that basically we're not getting out of here alive, but neither is that thing. So we're gonna get this and kill it. And so even if it kills us in the process.
Yeah.
So they blow up the spaceship, and then they just go around, start setting the place on fire. They're like, this thing's not going to freeze. We're going to get it. And they end up down in the generator room, and Gary's like, the generator's gone. And Mac's like, well, can we fix it? And he's like, Mac, the generator's gone.
What can we do that's not even here to fix?
Yeah. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. That's bad.
And then while they're down there, they kind of separate because they're all like,
oh yeah, Gary and Niles like just disappear.
Yeah, right? They're they're trying to put out, I guess, like TNT stuff to like blow the place, and all of a sudden Blair shows up and with Gary, and he puts his hand inside Gary's face.
And just like, wow. Death to you. Yeah.
And then Null ends up going off too, and Mac is left alone. And we don't really ever see what happens to Nulls.
We don't.
But then all of a sudden the creature is rushing him from below, like under the ground. And
maybe this is why you thought it was Tremors. Maybe this is exactly why you got confused with Tremors, because that was very Tremors-esque.
Yeah, I think, and Tremors came out around the same time, didn't it?
Not
that I was 82. Alive.
No, right. If this was 82, probably Tremors. I'll look it up right now, but Tremors definitely gives 80s because it has like Reba McEntire, Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Tremors came out. The first one was 1990. So it's about an 8 year. It's about an 8 year difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was getting it confused with Tremors for sure. But creature rushes him from below, and Mac is like, yeah, fuck you too, and blows him up.
Yeah.
And basically just sets him on fire with one of those little grenade things. And then Mac comes back up to the surface, and he reunites with Childs.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, where the fuck were you? Yeah.
Childs is basically like, I got lost.
Yeah. He's like, I thought I saw Blair, and I went out into the storm, and I got lost, and I couldn't find my way back because everything went dark too. Yeah. And so he was like, until y'all started lighting the place up. And he was like, the temperature sure has gone up, but it's not going to stay like that for long.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, how are we going to survive? And Max says, maybe we shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it ends with them sitting there drinking, and the camp.
Drinking some scotch.
Yep. And the camp just on fire. We pan out with the fire burning all over the camp.
Yep. And then it just fades to black, and you start to get the credits of all the titles, the end scenes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was hoping that like maybe there would have been no, you know what? I really liked the ending because it definitely does leave it to where it's like, are they like did we get the thing? Probably not. It's probably still out there. Were they infected? Because even at that point, was Childs infected with it or not? We don't know.
Yeah, we have no clue. He was good at first, but when he disappeared, Blair could have got him.
And maybe even at this point, we don't even know. Maybe Matt could have been even infected with it at this point after the test.
Yeah.
So
definitely, it leaves a lot to be imagined. And doesn't give you a very concrete ending.
But that's how we sometimes leaves you to have a lot more kind of fun with being able to create your own storyline, and it allows for them to maybe one day, well, I guess, I don't know, we have to see Prince of Darkness, but if not, like maybe a direct sequel to this could become a thing, But that is, you guys, 1982's The Thing, directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah. Doesn't Prince of Darkness have to do with Evil Dead?
That's the Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. That's what it is. I kept getting it. I was like, the whole time, I was like, Evil Dead has something to do with this. But no, Army of Darkness.
Army. But shout out to the practical effects team, because even like the ending Blair conglomerate monster thing, when he's like, fuck you, like it was so cool looking, because it's just like,
yeah, and it had
all
like
bloody and monster looking.
Yeah, it aged really well. Like they
still terrifying effects, to this day.
Yeah, held up. And so super kudos to them, because they did a great job. The only part that was cheesy looking was the spaceship at the beginning.
The spaceship in the beginning, and maybe Windows pants.
Oh, yeah.
Body thing.
Looking like a little scarecrow.
But even whenever Gary was getting pulled off by like the player monster thing, like that was pretty cool looking, like by his face. And it was kind of stretchy skin looking. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
because it was I guess fusing by that point. But yeah, throughout the whole movie, it's kind of it's almost like a whodunit, but not whodunit. It's like a who is it kind of thing. So
yeah,
it
what's that one game that you play? Well, it's kind of like, yeah,
like that. Clue? No, Guess Who? Clue? I don't know.
The one where you close your eyes and you look up, and it's like one person is the killer. And
is it like Heads Up 7-Up or something like that?
Kind of, but you play it in a circle. And if you lock eyes or something with you can
have to kiss.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I've never played this game. But that's cool.
I just know that my students play it sometimes.
Okay.
But yeah, it worked kind of like that show that I watched at y'all's house that one time, that Traders or whatever.
The Traders, yeah. It's like Who's the Mole, essentially.
Yeah.
All right.
One person or one or two people are infected, and the rest is trying to
figure out who that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that sounds cute. I want to play.
Yeah, it's like that.
It'll be just us two. So just pretty easy to figure out who's infected or not.
Yeah. It'll be a fun time.
No. It was overall, even for it being an old film, and I mean, it was pretty long. It was almost 2 hours, basically 10 minutes shy of 2 hours. It held up, and from the beginning, it starts off with the helicopter and the shooting of the dog, and then maybe after that we get a 15 to 20 minute kind of lull where it's not nothing happening is really happening. It's kind of setting up stuff, but then once we start to get the first thing where the dog goes into the kennel and it's rawr, it just stays it stays giving us action and horror and the gang's all freaking out. And I think also putting us into a situation where we're with a bunch of dudes essentially in this area that's secluded and away from the rest of the world adds to the suspense and horror of like it's isolated and nobody can help them and they're all literally just left to like figure it out amongst themselves.
Yeah.
But
you want to give it?
Yeah. I was gonna say if I'll go ahead and give it my Boo rating. I would give it like a 4.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I thought it was really good. And it has me super excited to go. Like, I want to watch the 2011 one now and see where that goes. Yeah.
And so that one you said is a requel? No.
Yeah. So it's like it's a prequel. Okay, I'll have to do
a prequel
because I'm pretty sure that it has been established officially like as a prequel, not just like a fandom thing, but it's like a prequel.
Because I think it ends with the dog running off.
Then exactly. Then I think that's yes. On the 2011 one?
Yeah.
Then yeah. So this is I think what's happening literally at the Norwegian station. And then we go to the US station or whatever in that one. Yep, it is a direct prequel to the 1982 film of John Carpenter. The 1982 film of the same name by John Carpenter, which was an adaptation of the 1938 novella Who Goes There by John W. Campbell. Hey, there's a lot of made because of this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But
it's got a whole little world attached to it.
That's really cool. But do you have any fun facts for us today?
I do. John Carpenter has stated that of all his films, this is his personal favorite.
That's cute. Not even Halloween.
I know. I was like, I feel like I mainly know John Carpenter from Halloween, not The Thing. But, I mean, that's okay that this can be his favorite.
He's made so many films, though, too. Like,
yeah, he has. He's got quite the repertoire. It has become a tradition in British Antarctic research stations to watch The Thing as part of their midwinter feast and celebration held every 21st of June.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's like good, nice, scares them into not letting anyone outside of their camp come in.
Yeah.
This one kind of cracks me up. Unused music composed for this film was later used by Ennio Morricone in Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight from 2015. Ironically, Ennio's Thing score was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Score, while his score for Hateful Eight won him an Oscar.
That's funny. So if he would have just used that music, maybe he would have got the Oscar a long time ago.
Yeah. But
that's so cool,
didn't think the score was bad. I thought the theme was really good.
Well, this movie also, unfortunately, whenever The Thing opened up, it wasn't like a huge success. It got a lot of bad reviews and stuff, and people weren't really vibing with it.
Well, now it's got like a 92 or something on Rotten Tomatoes and an 8 or something on IMDb.
When did Alien come out?
The original? I don't know. 84?
1979.
79.
And this was 82. So I think people were still kind of like, we already have the horror space thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This film is considered a benchmark in special makeup effects. The effects were created by Rob Bottin, who was only 22 when he started the project.
Wow.
Bottin.
We felt that light.
Yeah, I know. Here I am, 30, almost 31.
Haven't made a benchmark anything.
Nope. And there's people competing in the Olympics and stuff, and they're 16.
Oh yeah, I always do that shit whenever I'm like, or like when you think about your favorite artists, or you think about your favorite people, and you're like, whoa, they did that when they were like 19 or 24, or like, yeah, and you're like,
Yeah.
huh,
And I've
that's
done
wild.
nothing.
I'm like, I was having severe anxiety at that age. God, how did they do that?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
couldn't do anything, couldn't function, couldn't get off my living room floor.
I was about to say, like, literally, like, couldn't get out of bed for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Anyways,
And then last but not least, to give the illusion of icy Antarctic conditions, interior sets on the Los Angeles sound stages were refrigerated down to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, while it was well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit outside.
Jesus.
So they made it actually really cold in there.
Yeah, I'm sure the actors had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I know. It must have been awful.
Mm-hmm.
At least you're not sweating your balls off, though, in like all that gear that they had to wear.
That's true.
Shooting. Like, because they were in like straight up parkas and stuff. And like, I would have hate to have been in that.
That's true.
Rob Bottin is known for RoboCop, Total Recall, and Seven. He did the effects, I guess, for all of them. He's also done makeup department on Game of Thrones, Mr. Deeds. I'm wondering if he did the like Blackfoot that from the Frostbite that Mr. Deeds has.
I've never seen Mr. Deeds.
Oh, I watched it recently.
That's the Adam Sandler movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's Daddy. What's the one where he becomes the daddy? Big Daddy.
Oh, Big Daddy.
Yeah. Okay. What's the plot to Mr. Deeds?
Mr. Deeds is he basically finds out that he's the last like relative, like
he like kind of like inheritance or something. Right?
Yeah, he gets an inheritance from this guy who owned a major company, and he died scaling Everest. And he left like all of his fortune and shares in the company to Deeds, and then basically Deeds is like coming in trying to get what's rightfully his, while the people at the company are trying to like pull one over on him and stuff like that. But he's such like a genuinely good guy that everyone ends up like, liking him. And yeah, he's very likable. But yeah, he's been on a lot of great movies. So that's really neat. But yeah, those are my fun facts. I think yeah, it was a really good movie. Like, I just really enjoyed it. Super easy to get through. I loved the scene when Norris's stomach opens up and eats Copper's hands. That was pretty gnarly. And I think I don't know. I thought it moved along well. It was like a little long, but like it is an hour and 48 minutes. So, but it still moved well. And like
it could have been an hour and 30. Like maybe some bits and pieces could have been chopped out.
But they did. I feel like everything that they showed really like perpetuated the storyline. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I think also too, they started off with like starting off with such a huge crew, like you have to fill that time with like killing them off to where it's also not like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
That like, yeah.
Gotta be one by one and not just like a whole rampage.
Slaughter, yeah.
I think I would give this a 4 point. I think just a 4.5.
Well.
No, maybe a 4.75. So really close to you, but not quite a 4.8.
And why was the 0.5? Because
I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I thought it was a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, it's definitely 1000% worth the watch.
I really liked Kurt Russell in it.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good.
Yeah, he did a great job. And all of the actors really did a great job. And like the dogs, like we said, everyone seemed legitimately fearful for their life. Like there was one point where like, I think it was Null's hand was like shaking so bad. And they were panning past it, but like even the attention to detail in his hand was good. And I don't know if he was directed to do that or not, but it was a really good, like, I was like, damn, they're terrified.
Yeah.
I think maybe, I don't know why it wouldn't be a 5. I just don't feel like it's quite a 5.
Yeah, that's just how you feel. Yeah.
I just feel that way. So
you liked it, but like maybe you didn't like love it.
Yeah, it's not one that I like want to watch over and over and over again.
I feel you.
But I do still think it's definitely worth the watch, and I think it like has earned its place in horror, like as a genre, and really deserves attention and all the accolades that it's acquired thus far, even though it didn't get very good reviews at first. I think it's definitely worth the watch now.
Definitely before its time, probably.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's definitely deserves like all the references and all like the different type of pop culture influence that it's had, because it like even being a benchmark in practical effects, like the effect that I'm sure that had for all the other films that came after it, and what then was then able to be built upon that. And now we are here today with all the great effects and shit that we have, and the thing walked so that way other stuff could run. So
yeah,
it's really cool to go back and get to watch these movies that were made 82. Like, how long is that? Like 92, 10, 12, like 40 years ago. Like,
and for it to still hold up is impressive.
Yeah, like it's really cool. And like to
the
still be able to
effects.
appreciate it. To still be able to like whenever the whole dog scene was happening, I was really into that. Like I was like, oh shit, like this is like that's really fucking cool. Like how did they back then get that dog thing to Demogorgon style open up without like CGI shit? Like
a little flower.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then the little like alien head like popped out. Like it was like I don't know. It was really cool.
Yeah,
and because everything
must have built it all by hand.
And it's so you have to really appreciate and give them a lot of respect because everything is so you don't have that many takes. Like the thing is, I'm sure like a one thing, and then it's all bloodied and ruined, and then you have to I don't know how you'd clean that and then redo it, and then like you know what I mean. So
you probably only get that one shot.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I
think it's a testament to how artful and stuff this film actually is.
Yeah, and like the passion in filmmaking and like really wanting to do something because you love to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, Rob Bottin. Rob did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And only 22. Wow.
It's fucking beast.
That's cool. That's pretty wild.
But yeah. As always, you guys, we are recording, thankfully, in part due to Rogue Media Network. They always take good care of us. And we aren't recording in studio today, but we are recording from our respectable house units. Was there anything that we needed to add in there?
I don't think so.
No, yeah. So you can always check us out, another podcast out on their what's it called? What do we call that? A website? Yeah, a website. At roguenetwork.com. And what else can...
If you want to listen to us or any of those other podcasts, you can do so all in well, wherever you get your podcasts, but the two biggest would be
Spotify
and also Apple. And wherever you do listen, don't forget to
rate, review, like, and subscribe.
And then if you want to reach out to us, let us know your thoughts on the thing, why we should have given it a 5, maybe. Or if you think it deserved less, if you're one of the people who didn't quite like it at the beginning and stuff, then let us know. And you can reach out to us on our Instagram, and that is at
BooBaes Podcast, and that's at BOOBAES, because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
That's right. And next time we'll be watching The Mist, right?
The Mist. Yes, The Mist.
The original. Wait, there's only one, and then there's a TV series.
Yeah. We're watching the movie one.
Not the television series.
Mm-hmm. And then we will be watching
Splice.
Yes. I was like, I had it in my head. Splice, which you haven't seen, right? I think you said. Or you may have.
Let me.
It's got Adrian Brody. And it's like an experiment gone wrong type of situation.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Splice.
Okay, cute.
I've definitely seen clips from it and like stills from it, but I've never actually watched it.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting for me to watch.
And for you guys to watch with us as well, if y'all would like to watch those with us. And also if you'd like to send us your reviews or any thoughts you have on them before the episodes drop, so we can include y'all into the episodes.
Exactly. But until next time, do you have anything else?
I'm done. I'm good. Just make sure you guys test all your friends' blood and make sure that they are not infected with alien creatures.
Yeah, because they could just be masking around, parading in your friend's little skin suit.
Mm-hmm. And that wouldn't be cute.
Trust no one. Everyone, even your cat or your dog.
No, not the cats. No, you can trust the cats.
Okay.
Just not the dog.
Suki's a monster.
Oh, she's plastic. So you know she's a real cat.
Yeah, she is a real kitty. Yeah. She's a silly kitty.
Until
Goopy never comes to bother us. It's just Suki.
It's just her. Yeah, it's just her.
I don't know
but
why.
It's okay. Maybe she's camera shy.
Yeah, Goopy must be. She's like, I'm sleepy. But okay, until next time, you guys.
Bye,
Baes.
BooBaes.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.